Welcome all to the weekly outlook. Boone here from EWPRO. Getting straight into the weekly outlook, looking at the DXY on the daily time frame. Nothing's changed. We're just going down onto the lower time frame to see if we're going to get any more downside. Like I've been mentioning over the last few months, I'm not convinced that that is the actual low there. On the H4, I'm looking for a 333 or 335. I have been for a very long time. We got the 333. We got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. This is still looking very corrective, and this low over here hasn't been broken. So there is still a chance that we get another one up in here. It is looking very bullish. So I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one up, but then I'd be expecting more downside. There really isn't a buy set up on it to buy. I mean, we have a lot of bullish divergence here on the H1. We have a lot of bullish divergence, but there's no actually buy set up on it to get into a buy. If anything, it's more of a sell because we have a bear hidden here. So I wouldn't be surprised if this does go down and break the low, even if it breaks it in 3 waves and then gives another one up for a flat before we get more downside. So there's nothing bullish yet. It's more of a scalp if you're looking for this sell in here too, because more than likely it won't go very far with all that bullish divergence already present. So yeah, ideally it comes down here. We get another flat like I just showed, another lower low, and then we get a nice impulse up and a correction, and then we can look for the buy. Other than that, there's really not much I would do with this. I wouldn't be looking for the shorts. I mean, you could scalp the shorts on the real low time frames, but other than that, I wouldn't be looking for the shorts. I'd be more interested in a buy, but there simply isn't a buy yet. AU on the daily, we're looking for this C up, and on the H4, we had that complete complex correction 333 here. On the H1, we got 5 up. It's kept on going, this 5th wave. Or maybe we can even look at it like this, flat here, and we got 1, 2, 3. But either way, I'll be looking for a larger correction, possibly the same size as this here, this flat that I just showed here, over here, and then we could look for a buy. We are getting bearish divergence on the H1 here. More than likely, there's still more upside in it. If I quickly go down to the M15, it confirms that we possibly will get more upside here. We don't have any bearish divergence in here for a start, and we have a possible bull hidden here. So, again, it's really just scalping to go and break the top at this stage, because we're either at the end of the wave 5 or the wave 3, so we're getting to the end of it. So yeah, you have to be careful with the buys, but it does look like here that we are getting some sort of a bullish little setup in here to scalp. I mean, yeah. GU looking for more upside as well, possibly up to this 100 fib up here. We got the 5 up on the H4, larger correction, and we're sort of getting like 1, 2, 3 up in here. I expect more upside here. It has been rather slow. This was one of the better ones I was looking to buy over the last couple of weeks, ever since we got this impulse up here, breaking this high here. Well, then we got 3 down. any buy setup, there was a little buy in here to buy this, you still could look for the buys. See, even on the H1, we got an impulse up and we got 3 down, impulse up, and we're getting a correction in here. So you could look for a buy here. I'd be looking for the buy. Going back to the daily, even if it get it up to this 100 fib and not the weekly 100 fib, still plenty of room there. So yeah, might give you a nice opportunity to get into a buy if you get the bullish setup. EU, nothing's changed either. This one's already up to that week. Well, it was just about up to that weekly 100 fib already. So this one's a little bit more difficult. Like I've been saying for the last few weeks, I'd prefer to look to buy GU than the other majors because, that one gave us a nice impulse up. Whereas if we have a look at EU, we got the 5 up, we got the larger correction. We didn't get a higher high here like we did on GU. So this is looking very bearish. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if it does go, but it's very difficult to get in when this looks so bearish. This still could give us another one down in here. By the way, by the look of the price action, very difficult to trade. You get in and it comes back, takes you out. You get in and it comes back, takes you out. You get in, comes back, takes you out. Get in, comes back, takes you out. And that's what it's doing. And it could do this for quite some time. You're just getting cut to pieces. And at this stage, there is no sell set up on it. If we go down to the M15 quickly, you could look for a buy here. For example, we got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 up. And then we got a larger correction, 3 down. Nice impulse up, sort of getting a flat here. So if you got something on the lower time frames, you could look to buy. But yeah, like I mentioned before, I'd be looking to trade GU. It has a lot more room to the upside than it does EU, and it looks a lot better. But yeah. NU, we're looking for upside. We got that A, B, and we're looking for this C up to this 100 fib. H4, we already have that complex correction of 335. I'll quickly go over that again. We had that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, or you could look at it as 5 down in here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Either way, we've got a complete correction and we're starting to get upside. It has been quite slow, this, and very difficult to get in. But this was the opportunity to get in, but of course it only gave 3 up in here and would have come back and taken you out at break even, or if you had to stop here you'd still be in it, but more than likely it would have taken you out at break even. There was another little flat in here. It was gone here, but then it's coming back down. So it is very difficult to get onto a nice trade and stay on it when the market's so choppy. At this stage, looking at the H1, we do have bearish divergence here. So it starts to get risky buying. Looking at the M15, I wouldn't be surprised if we get another one up in here. We do have a bull hidden there. So, it's just scalping pretty much. We're going right down onto the lower time frame. So it's just scalping. GY, this is slowly crawling up to this 100 fib. It may even go up and break that top. But, once this wave's finished, I'm expecting a C down in here for that A, B, C. And then we can load up on longer term buys till we get this C down in here. You got to be very careful with the buys. H4, a lot of divergence here, a lot of bearish divergence. Again, you'd be getting cut to pieces. I mean, this one wasn't too bad. We had 3 down in here, impulse up breaking this top here, a correction. But again, it's not going. It's running out of steam. I'd be looking. I'm more interested in a sell. We are getting higher highs here over here, so where wherever this ends, I'm looking for a nice impulse down, a correction, and then I can look for a sell for that daily C down. Other than that, it's scalping the buys, which could be quite risky, especially with all that bearish divergence, like I mentioned. UY, nothing's changed on this either on the daily. I'm looking for an A, whatever's happening in here, a B, and we get another one down. This is going sideways here, so it can pretty much go either way. I was thinking maybe we had 3 down in here without breaking this low, so I was thinking that may go and break the top again. It's just turning into a big complex correction in here. I'd be more interested in the sell again, but there is no sell setups on it, and there's really no buy on it either. You can't buy this. We have a bear hidden here, so you got to be very careful of that. If you're looking for the buys, unfortunately, there's no sell. I mean, we got an impulse down here, but it's gone straight back up. So there's no real sell on it either. Yeah, I'd be leaving it alone at this stage. UCAD, we're waiting for this time factor like we have been for a very long time. This wave 4 has come into the territory of this wave 2. So this is looking corrective in here. So I'm thinking we'll get more downside and we won't get that 5th wave up. Again, it's really just scalping. With H4, we've been looking for these 5 up here for a long time. Ever since this one here went above the 100 fib of this, a breach 100 fib here. So ever since that happened, I've been looking at a possible 5 up. Well, that looks like it's happening. But, it's very slow here. So, I'd be leaving it alone as well. If anything, we may actually get a sell on this. Maybe setting up for a sell. I'd be looking at the M15 for at least 3 down here. We have a nice impulse down from the top after a lot of bearish divergence. This is looking very corrective. So you could look for at least 3 down. And you never know, this definitely could turn motive and you get 5 down in here. So yeah, I'd be looking for the sell. Yeah. The Swissy, we got that A, B, C. I'm still not convinced that is the low, like I've been mentioning for a long time. Been looking for that 333 or 335 here. We had that 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Looking for a wave 4 and a wave 5 up. Well, this is, it still looks bullish. I'll just double check to see if that has broken this low over here. It still hasn't broken this X1 here. So we still can get this set up as a complex correction. Again, there's no buy set up on it. You've got to be very careful with this. We got an impulse down here. And we lost all the bullish divergence in here. And we have a bear hidden. So, this can easily come down and break this low. In fact, that's what I think it will do. You could look for the scalp on the lower time frames. Very similar to CAD. We got an impulse down. This looks corrective. This can go and break this low. Yeah, it's really just scalping though. And if you are looking for the sell, considering taking a sell, you got to look at the daily time frame as well. We're right down the bottom, so you're just scalping. E.g., nothing to do on here on the daily, like I've been mentioning. We've already got those 5 up. We were looking for these 5 up. And we got it. We got the bearish divergence. I'm looking for at least a larger correction here, and then we could look to buy again in the longer term. The shorter term, I'd be very careful here too, because if we are looking for the sell, it can be very choppy because we're looking for a correction, downside in a correction. So you're selling into a correction. It's not really giving us very nice setups either to sell, unfortunately. And there was this here, but even that was quite dangerous. This here, it did have a ball hidden there. So yeah, I would be staying out of it. We've already got the 5 up, so I'd be waiting for the larger correction. WTI, looking for that A, B, C overall, and we're looking at this like A, B, C here, and then an A, B, C. It hasn't been playing nicely on the H4. This was looking nice here to sell. We got 3 down. We got this 1, 2, 3 down with bullish divergence, and we did get a lower low here, so we got even more bullish divergence. Ideally, this low here goes and gets broken. I really hope it does, so then I can start to load up on the buys. Other than that, because we got this bullish divergence, you definitely can look for buys. But there's no buy set up on it. That's the problem. This is very choppy here. Looks like we got a flat in here, and we got it like an A, B, C here. So we can get more downside. I mean, it's very risky. If I get my internet to work. It is very risky here to sell, but you could, if you got a bearish setup in here on the lower time frames, you could look for a sell. Extremely risky. It is very risky. You'd want to be an experienced trader. Keep tight stops because, yeah, I mean, it may just give you something like this and give you 3 down, just breaking that low and then shoot back up on you. So, you got to be very careful. Unfortunately, I don't really see much on WTI at this stage until that low is broken. Gold, we got the 3 up. We got that 1, 2, 3. We're waiting for this wave 4 and trade a wave 5 up. I was looking for like an A, B, C up in here and then an A, B, C, a flat in here before we look for buys again. It's gone further than I would have thought. Well, further than I would have liked. We were looking at this last section. We got that 1, 2, 3. You really got to wait for a wave 4 and trade a wave 5 up. You got to wait for this before you can look for a buy. More than likely, we will get a bull hidden in here, and you go down as soon as we get that bull hidden. You go down to the lower time frames and start looking for a buy setup. But yeah, nothing really to do here unless you're buying into this trend here. Yeah, scalping, buying into the trend, but I mean, you're just scalping, but we got one, two, three in here. This looks rather bullish. You may get another one up in here. How far it goes is anyone's guess. That's the problem. We're right at the top of the market. We're breaking all-time highs. So you got to be very careful buying at the top of the market. Yeah. Safest way is to wait for that wave port on the H4. And then if we get a buy setup, wait for a complete correction, look for a buy setup. If it gives you a buy setup, well, then you can look to buy. Other than that, you're sitting on the sideline. Silver, I'm waiting for a correction. We're still in this wave three, very similar to gold. Again, we've really got to wait for this correction. You got to wait for this wave four, and then we can trade a wave five up. H1, we're getting all this bearish divergence, so it's not the time to be buying. We already have five up here, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. With the bearish divergence, you got to wait for that larger correction. There's no sell set up on it yet either, so I'd be staying out of it for now. Bitcoin on the daily, we got the 5 up, larger correction, and we got more upside. We got a lot of bearish divergence on this one, so again, you have to be careful with the buys. We are getting what I was looking for here. It's been dragging on, but it's finally starting to happen. We had the 5 up on the H4, impulse down. We sort of got an A, a B. I'm looking at a flat here. It may be expanding. This stage, it's a running flat, but I'll be looking for downside for at least like this A, B, C. H1, we're not getting any bearish divergence. That's the problem. So we still can get a correction in here, get another one up. The problem is, I'm looking for this larger C down, but there is no sell set up on it yet. So you can't just jump into a sell. You got to wait for a setup, or else you starting to get caught in the wrong side of the trade. M15, we're starting to get bearish divergence, but again, there's no, there's no bearish setup. So we did have a ball hidden in here for that to go and break the top. Now it's given another 3 down, so it's possible that it goes and breaks the top again. What I'd like to see is a nice impulse down, breaking that low, and then giving us a correction. And then we can start to look for a sell. Until that happens, I'd be pretty much staying out. S&P 500, we're right at the top of the market. If I quickly go to the weekly, we have 5 up here. We got that like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're in that 5th wave. It's getting up to the second target now, that 161.8. So, you got to be very careful with buys. Again, H4, we're getting all the bearish divergence. There's a lot of bearish divergence here. So it's only a matter of time before this falls over. I should take that off. We were looking for this correction in here. A buy here. But yeah, again, H1, we got all that bearish divergence. There's really nothing you can do. There's no sell set up on it either. So, I'm waiting for a sell. We got all the bearish divergence on the M15. Need a nice impulse down correction, and we can look for at least a C down scalp on the M15. But yeah, AU200. This was played out on the weekly as well. If I quickly go here, we already had the 3 up. I'm looking at that A, that B and we got the C up. It's already broken the top. If anything, like I've been mentioning, you know, for the buy, we need that larger correction on the daily before we can start to look for long-term buys again. H4, I was looking for this C down here. This was during the weekly outlook a few weeks ago when we had this impulse down. We had bearish divergence in here. Impulse down, 3 up, like 1, 2, 3 up. Look for the sell. This is term motive, like I mentioned last week. We got 1, 2, 3. I was looking for possibly a 4 and more downside. I still am. This is a larger correction now, though, so it's becoming more complex. This is where you needed to get in, and you'd more than likely still be in it because you would have got in right at the top of the market. You may be out of half, but I'd be keeping that other half and see how far it goes down. Other than that, there's really not much to trade. This top didn't get broken over here, so I'd still like to see another one up here before we get more downside. Yeah, I mean, you could look for sells. Actually, it did. Sorry, I'll correct myself there. That did break the top. So we do have 3 up here. So that's good. You definitely could look for a correction and sell, going with the overall trend. FTSE on the daily, right up the top of the market as well. Like I said last week, I mean, the correction has been a lot bigger than I thought, but again, we had the bearish divergence. We got an impulse down. I was looking for a correction and then sell. It still is like this top still hasn't been broken. So I don't like it when we get deep corrections to the impulse, because more than likely we'll just get a C down, just breaking that low, and we get a high. And this is a regular flat. Again, is there any setup on it? I'll go down to the M15. You definitely could look for the sell here on the M15. I mean, we got bearish divergence here, and we got an impulse down. So wait for a correction. Then if you get a sell set up, well, then you can look for a sell. So this one doesn't look too bad. If we get that correction, definitely could look for a sell, getting into the market at the top of the market, getting into a sell at the top of the market. Lastly, take a quick look at the DAX. There's nothing really to do on this one either. Daily, we had that bull hidden. It's gone up and broken the top. It's all it needed to do. We're getting heaps of bearish divergence on the daily as well. I was sort of looking for this to go and break the top. It didn't go and break the top, so yeah. Dare say we're going to get a larger correction here on the daily. Very similar to the others. We're waiting for a larger correction on all these indices. So yeah, if anything, I'd be looking for a sell, but really, there's no sell set up on it, even on the lower time frames. Well, the way I trade anyway. Yeah, really, not much you can do. Yeah. There's really not much here. I mean, it can go either way. Like this can give you another one up in here, breaking that top and then fall over, or it can fall over from here. We already have sort of 3 up here, like 1, 2, 3 up in here. So I would be staying out of it unless you get a nice sell set up. I'd be staying out of it. So I hope you got something out of this weekly outlook. If you did, please hit the like button, share and subscribe. Enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you out there next week.